Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Farah Wadatul Afifah and today I'm here with my partner.
My name is Lina Fahmatunisa Kamila.
And so we will give a presentation about poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar and the title is Sympathy.
On the first slide, we will explain about author's biography. Paul Laurence Dunbar, born in Ohio to parents who had been slaves in Kentucky, achieved fame for his dialect poetry. He published early even while in high school, and by 1896, with the publication of Lyrics of Lowly Life, brought 3 books to his credit. Because often used black speech patterns and pronunciation, Dunbar's work was sometimes thought present demeaning racial stereotypes. But, in recent years, critics have seen the protest beneath the quaint surface. In the following poem, however, he works entirely within a traditional white idiom. Although the subject is distinctively African American.
And the next slide is, as you can see on the screen, the title of the poem is Sympathy by Paul Laurence Dunbar. You can read it by yourself. Okay, we move on topic question. The first topic question is why we choose this poem. The second is how this poem show how far difficult it was to be black in those days. And third is what is the type of this poem. And the last topic question is what is the meaning of this poem.
Okay, the first topic question is reason why we choose this poem. This poem has a very strong background about the oppression of the black race. This poem was created to show how very difficult it was to be black in those days. They have very strict rules, so there are many things they cannot do freely. We can imagine how people got intimidated just because of the color of their skin. It's about humanity and justice. This poem is very touching. This reason makes us feel interested in choosing this poem entitled Sympathy.
And the next is how this poem show how far difficult it was to be black in those days. The poem doesn't mention the word race or racism once, but through its description of the caged bird, we learn exactly what it felt like for people like African Americans who were denied basic freedoms in society.
The next topic question is about how we identify this poem. Sympathy is a lyric poem, since it gives us a glimpse into the speaker's thoughts and emotions. Even though a lot of this poem describes what the caged bird feels, we can understand it as a lyric because the speaker identifies so closely with the caged bird's pain. After all, the poem begins with the words, "I know what the caged bird feels." So, the speaker gives us an insight into the bird's feelings and pain in order to give us insight into his own feelings and pain. So, what's behind Dunbar's from choice here? We would say it has a lot to do with imprisonment. The regular form, the consistent matter, the strict pattern of the rhyme scheme, all of these things create a subtle but persistent sense of confinement. It's as though we're trapped in the cage right along with that poor bird. Based on Dunbar's goal of articulating sympathy, we would say he's doing all this on purpose. locking us in and throwing away the key.
Okay, and the last topic question is the meaning of this poem. Paul Laurence Dunbar, Sympathy is a poem that describes the terrible experience of being a bird stuck in a cage. The bird in this poem flaps its wings and sings, but not because it's happy. It flaps its wings and sings because it's, well, miserable. And but why, we make ask, is Paul Laurence Dunbar bothering to write a poem about a bird stuck in a cage? As you can see, this is a poem that's about more than a caged bird. It's a poem about lack of freedom. Considering that Paul Laurence Dunbar was an African American poet writing at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century, Sympathy was published in his 1899 collection Lyrics of the Heartside. It's quite likely that this poor bird's oppression represents the oppression of all African Americans during this period. In other words, the speaker of the poem used the image of the locked-up bird to give us a sense of what it feels like to live without freedom. And Sympathy is a self-provoking literary piece about slavery and freedom. The poem speaks about brutal slavery, racial segregation, and social discrimination practiced in American society against the African American community. Using the metaphor of a bird, Dunbar highlights the importance of freedom. He also describes captivity through the plea and struggle of a caged bird.
Well, that's all from us. Thank you so much for your appreciation. See you and stay healthy.
Thank you.